Hey everyone, Scott here. This week I'm going to be doing some mod spotlights on some of the mods I'm going to be highlighting in my survival game that you've been watching. This is Vestipole, and a few friends of mine are going to be continuing to build on that. Next week we're going to be focusing on retrofitting with all these mods. But before we get into that, I wanted to give you guys a quick tour of what we're going to be using. So, first mod is the letters mod that's done by Darth Biomech. Basically, you can use letters as kind of blocks to basically spell out various sentences or names or anything like that. So we threw that in because I thought it was really cool. Moving forward is the Piston mod by Nala. Forgive me if I screwed up the names, but basically this just adds several different pistons for small and large ships. As you can see, they're all fully functional, and they do work with their respective conveyor systems, which especially comes in handy with small ships, because then you can use the large doors that they come with, where they have two different size doors. It makes it a little easier, whereas the stock pistons never had a wide option when they were on the small ship. On the large ship, they also have some really ridiculously huge ones. Like this one goes 35 meters or so. This one in the middle is the standard one. And this little one here is a tiny one, which does allow you for a little bit more options when you're building your doors or your articulating components and whatnot. Very handy. I've used them a little bit. I really like them. Next, we've got some solar panels by Elkster. Now, these add some different sizes of solar panels to the game. As you can see here, these ones are 1 block wide. He also adds the ability to center some of them. As you can see here, there's a version for one of each. There's one that's centered. As you can see, this set is centered, and this set is tilted to the side like we were traditionally. And we'll see here as we go. Other than that, they function pretty much as you'd expect them to, as solar panels do already in the game. Their wattages are adjusted a little bit for the surface area that they provide. Next, I have the Uranium Centrifuge and the Rock Crusher, made by Hex. Now, these are basically specialized refineries. They do, basically the Uranium Centrifuge just refines raw uranium. It is a little bit slower than a standard refinery, but it does provide more yield. So if you're worried about yields and consumption of uranium, this might be a good mod to have. And, you know, it's good at space saving, and it does tie into the conveyor system just like everything else, as you can see. The Rock Crusher, again, same sort of concept, except this just crushes rock and turns it into gravel. Now, I know rock is kind of a throwaway resource as it stands, unless there's some other mods out there which I haven't gotten into yet. Do use rock a little bit more just to provide you with more of the use of it. Nevertheless, I felt having this refinery in there was a good way to keep excess rock from getting into our refineries, and therefore, you know, taking up their precious time when they could be refining useful. Alright, the next one I have is the Mess Hall and Med Center, done by Dead Tech. It adds some catwalks, it adds some furniture, TVs, fridges, stools, coffee maker, space coffee, your space Java, and various countertops. For the most part, they are decorative, like this med bed is as well, and the med cot, but they're just decorative, and even though they don't provide any function, they still just like the aesthetics, and I think it will add a little bit of diversity and life to our ship. Dead Tech's also come out with a functionable cockpit. It's called the Scorpion, and it works just like any other cockpit. And then moving forward, we've got more stuff from Darth Biomech. These are the blast doors, that just large size industrial door shapes. They do open fully, and you know, provide you some more options, especially if you've got the space for large cargo holds or space decks or whatever you want to do. Small ships could potentially fit through that if they're made small enough. He's also got some interiors that include railings for interior walls, and they do come in corners, so you can continue to wrap them around and things like that inside your ship. It's kind of a neat little twist. Including that, on Darth Biomech are these large docking ports, as well as these armored thrusters. Just whipped up this quick little sort of setup that also includes some more of his mods, including the cryo tubes, the laser. It's basically just a Gatling turret, but it's just got a different look and functions. Quite like it. When they get more, I'm sure once they get a little chance to really mod the weapons, it will probably add a little bit of a different dynamic. I thought it was pretty cool though. But as you can see here, I'm just going to hop in this chair, and this docking port does work just like any other one. Then I probably have to convert this to a ship. Yep. So, as you can see here, we can kind of just drive like you would any other ship. Now the nice thing about this docking port is that it's got a full-sized come on. This one's a little finicky as compared to some of the other ones, so but I'll get her going. Just let me check to make sure that it's on. I'm having some issues with it, but it does work. I swear it works. Oh, I think I just got grabbed. Alright, I thought I felt the magnetic pull. Anyway, they do lock. They're a bit finicky, but they do lock. And they do allow you to kind of give you another option with regards to... Oh, there we go. There, locked. Little finicky, but I'm sure that'll get addressed as it goes. Therefore, but you know, they do add one neat feature, and that's a catwalk that goes all the way through. So if you were to, for example, want to walk through your docking collar, as you would see, say, in a space station or large ship or some of the movies you might have seen, it would allow you to go all the way through. And that's the cool part about it, with this nice seam where you can see where they do latch. And there is extensions for it, so you can move forward. This is the AI core. As far as I can tell right now, it just adds another sort of area where you can control, similar to a chair. But it does look pretty neat, and I figured I'd throw that in there too. Maybe I can use it for some kind of automation. In any case, so moving forward, we've got the conveyor expansion mod pack from Killer 96. Now this just adds some various options for the conveyor system. This is a new sort of catcher, collector, access points, tubes that can kind of go in different shapes, as well as different options for connecting, just to give us a little bit more options with the conveyor system. As you can see here, there's this centered docking collar that might be of use too. It is kind of neat too if you wanted to, say, recess your docking collar a little bit, because it does recess a little bit, whereas the standard one kind of wants to stick out a little. But you can see. So next I have on the list here, I have Colt's Command Console Pack from Colt 16. Basically, they're all functional command consoles and buttons that can just look really aesthetically pleasing. Adds a little bit more of a, command center feel to your bridge or your control stations. So I'm going to include those two. There's a few corner consoles and stuff too, so you can kind of get some interesting shapes in there and make it a little bit more diverse, which I found really, really interesting. So the next one I'm going to be looking at, or the next one I'm using, is the Armored Ramps by Uncle Stay, S-T-E. That's how you pronounce it. Basically, they're just armor blocks in the shape of ramps, and it has corners and a few other interesting shapes, just to give you a little bit more options when you are working with your ships, to kind of generate slightly different looks and things like that. Very useful, very useful. I've also got from Azimuth, which most people that mod probably are familiar with his work, because he does a lot of mod packs, but I have his mod pack, which includes various inventories, reactors, batteries, a bunch of small ship parts, as you can see here, drills, guns, different shapes of guns. He's actually just released a cockpit here recently, that is very interesting in aesthetics, as well as things like V8 engines, which I totally dig. They're just basically energy reactors, but dang, they look cool. Totally impractical for space, but hey, this is a game, right? He's also got an assortment of thrusters that we're using. As you can see here, I've got a bunch of the smaller 1 and 2 block ones on the top, and then this large one on the bottom is also a great big thruster, and I'm probably going to be using that to upgrade the Sevastopol's propulsion system, because it is terribly slow. So, also, the last, or second last here is the screens pack from NHG. It just adds some screens that you can put on there, and I kind of like the Windows blue screen of death. That one always got me chuckling. But you got kind of a binary readout here, and or hexadecimal, excuse me. And this is a green screen. These three options can be just placed on surfaces, and they can be used to do all kinds of things. And then next, what I have here is some Maglock docking surfaces by Phantom X, or docking clamps, I guess. They basically are just like landing feet, except they're surface mountable, so they're nice and flat. They've also got a blast door version, so if you want to maglock your blast doors. And this is some sort of tractor beam, which I'm not sure exactly how it works yet, but apparently it comes with a mod, so I figured I'd give it a try. Moving forward, I have some signs available here. These are Sectan's signs. They has a whole slew of them that offer a bunch of options for various things that you might see in a ship, bridge, cargo hold, crew quarters, but there's a whole ton of them, and there's a whole bunch that potentially could be used in your ships. And then finally, I have the small ship sniper rifle, which was just released this last week by Thomas. I believe it works for King Software. Allows me to just basically have a nice powerful gun that I can put on my small ships. So basically, that's the mods we're going to be using. There are some other mods I've featured in this that I'm going to be using as well. However, I didn't want to get overwhelmed with just one video. So next, when I start using small mods, I'll definitely do some mod spotlights on to give you guys some view, because I believe these buttons are from the mod as well. I'll look into that here, and potentially over the next few weeks I'll do another spotlight just to give you some ideas of potentially things you can do. So anyways, this is Scott signing off. Stay safe in the space. Have a good one.